everyone, welcome to another video by the Happy Woodworker. Today's video is how to read a tape measure, and this is for a specific high school sophomore out there who might have had some questions. So we're going to start with just the basic inch. Once you understand the inch, everything else is easy. So there are all sorts of different types of tape measures out there. You have little metal ones. Granted, that's not a tape measure, but I don't think I have any of my other ones around here. You have metal ones, plastic ones, you have framing squares, you have actual tape measures, you have yardsticks. It all comes down to the inch. And an inch is very simple to understand. On your tape measure, you've got a line. And a long line down, and a long line down. This is 0, this is 1 inch. If I cut it in half, I have another long line down, but it's not quite as long. That is a half. And you can go all the way down. This is the way it's going to work every time we cut it in half. Next up, slightly shorter line here and here. I've cut the halves in half. Those are quarters. So now I've got 0, a quarter, a half. Another quarter, which is 3/4, and an inch. I suppose I probably ought to mark that as 3/4 for you. Or I'm cutting it in half, I'm dividing by half. If I've got a half, half of a half is a fourth. Half of a fourth is an eighth, right? So next are eighths. And these lines are also shorter. I started with big long inch lines, half lines, quarter lines, now I've got eighth lines. This would be 1/8. A quarter would be 2/8. That makes this 3/8. A half would be 4/8. Just like doing fractions in math class. So if I've got 4/8, this would be 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. Okay, next up we're going to have sixteenths. When you first start woodworking, in high school and shop class, you're probably just going to start with the eighths. They're going to get you to that point, and that's what you need to understand. But next up is sixteenths. And again, each half is getting cut in half, and the lines again are a little bit shorter. I realize my ruler is not exact here, but you get the idea. 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16. 5/16, 6/16. You see where we're going here? Next up is 30 seconds. It does go that far. And again, we're going to cut these in half. And it's going to be even shorter lines. Each time we cut in half, our measurement's cut in half. So 30 seconds is the next one here. 1 30-second, 2, 3, 4 30-seconds, 5, 6, 7, 8 30-seconds would be a quarter. And so, as we keep going, and you actually can go down to 64ths. You're probably never going to get 64ths in your first year of shop class, or your second. But just be aware that they're there. And that's how you read a tape measure. You start out very simple. I've got 0, I've got a half, I've cut the half in half, I have a quarter. I cut the quarter in half, I have an eighth. I cut the eighth in half, I've got a 16th. I cut the 16th in half, I've got a 32nd. And you just count them as they go. It's simple, it just takes time to learn to read it. I hope you've enjoyed, everyone. Thanks for watching The Happy Woodworker.